Good morning. We are Signal Centre. It's the 1st of October. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Steve O'Hare. Nice and early this morning, Steve. How you doing?
Yeah, very nice and early. I could get used to this.
Yeah, well, maybe a bit more of this going forward as we are back in the office today, Steve. First day in the
Yes.
office.
Well, I did pop in there yesterday, just to
Yep.
sort of warm it up for you. I couldn't get actually get into our office, but we sort of like there was a communal area. We sort of like had a couple of meetings, and it was yeah, nice vibe. I think we've got to start to wear chinos, which are too short for you, and no socks and
So you just got to
loafers.
wear them
Oh,
just
I'm
around your
sure.
ankles and then like some
Yeah,
trainers type shoe.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a you know, if I get my kids, actually my kids are taller than me, so that wouldn't work either. Maybe my kids' clothes from about 4 or 5 years ago and put them on.
Yeah.
They'd never get around my thighs anyway, but yeah, it would probably look trendier. I wouldn't look as much out of place as I did yesterday. I think I look quite smart, to be honest.
Okay.
We'll
Right.
see. But yeah,
We're
we sort of,
when we're up in London today, Steve, we'll go for a shop. We'll
yeah, I think we need to. We need to sort of get, yeah, a new wardrobe.
okay.
But yeah,
No more
yeah,
suits in London. Is that the case?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's suits are a thing of the past. So
Okay.
unless you're meeting the Queen, I think it's just like
Or
chino
going to a
shirt and a
funeral.
jacket. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, that's probably the only time I will. Well, fortunately, that's the only time I'll be wearing a suit. But not
Okay.
fortunate for the person that's going to their funeral.
No.
Anyway,
All right, cool. On that dark note, let's get going, shall we?
yeah,
Okay, so it's first day of a new trading month. It was pretty choppy yesterday. The S&P capped its biggest monthly sell-off since March 2020. Um, what else have we got going on? So Asian futures very much on the back foot overnight, continuing where the S&P and the European markets left off yesterday. Um, there was a trader, apparently, according to the news that I saw this morning, that established a massive hedging position via options yesterday to protect a portfolio of stocks. The trade cost him $94 million for a
right.
single strategy. So big lump of protection being taken there. Don't know whether they're sort of starting to worry about what's going on in the markets and whether or not there's going to be an increase in volatility. I think from what I read as well, also October is the month where there's sort of more likely to be a crash than any other month, just going by what's happened in the past. Obviously, past performance is no guide to the future, as we, is ingrained into our brains. But yeah, that's maybe something to keep an eye out for as well. US Speaker Nancy Pelosi sent lawmakers home yesterday. They failed to agree on the infrastructure bill, so still at loggerheads with that. That's pretty much it from what I've seen on the news front. So we can get stuck into some charts today. And I know you can see Steve's itching to. He's got it up in front of us. Where do you want to start, Steve?
I'll start with indices, Joe, because yeah, this could this be the one? Could this be the actual one? Um, Still sort of the jury's obviously out, but I want to start with the weekly charts actually because it just maybe will highlight the levels we have to watch. Um, we've got this trend, this sort of ending wedge pattern we've been talking about for a while in FTSE. The level up here at 72.35 has proved a step too far, and we are now looking, we can see this bearish candle that's forming, which will come to a close at the end of today, the end of the week. If we can manage to get down below the 69.80 level, then that will be a bearish engulfing. Any further than that, then we can panic a little bit. Let me let the dogs out before they start whining and winding me up. So yeah, it's the level really below 68.10 is a level we've hit 3 times. We can see it once, twice, 3 times, a lady. And if we get below there, then we have support coming in from this trend line here, which is around about well, let's see if there's any sort of fibs there as well. That 61.8% fib was from the actual down move. Yeah, support then after that coming down in at 6,300 in FTSE. So they're the sort of like longer term levels to be watching. We can see DAX is really under pressure. This is a much more negative candle on the weekly chart for DAX, and we are at quite crucial levels. In fact, if we do manage to get down below 14,810, then I think that opens up a much deeper correction, maybe up to 1,000 points. it wouldn't be a panic situation then yet, but it's definitely something to sort of say we are going to have some sort of consolidation or pullback in this upward trend. Not quite a reversal yet. Bear that in mind. Similar sort of levels to watch in the Dow, around about what we're talking about, are comes in at 33,230. So that's another 500 points away. But you can see this weekly candle looks pretty ominous. The candle last week could be called either a bullish hammer at the bottom of the trend or a hanging man at the top of the trend, but it's been completely engulfed. So it's a bearish outside candle for the Dow on the weekly if we close at these levels. That's even taken out the wicks of the candle, which is even more negative. And it's definitely done it in NASDAQ as far as we're sitting right now. I think if we just bring in this support level here, a break of 14,454, and the close below there would confirm the potential for this reversal. We were talking about 4,400 at the start of the week in S&P and saying how psychological that level is, and we managed to get above there. We got up to 4,483, and that was the end of that. And again, forming a bearish outside candle on the weekly chart. If we go back a few weeks, we were forming this at the top of the chart, and this ending wedge formation looks pretty ominous as well for S&Ps. Aussie 200, we've had, this is the fifth week of negative price action. Last week was just about negative, opened and closed around about the same level, just closed a little bit lower. And we have, we look like we're targeting a break of there. The low of that candle last week was 7,096. We're only 50 odd points away. That's just around about a day's range in the Aussie 200. So very achievable indeed. China, for me, this is the one that I've been harping on about for so long. Really need to see a break below 14,500, and that would be it for me. That would confirm we are in a bearish market. I mean, that's a well, definitely for China, not maybe so for, you know, the rest of the world will be arguing their case, I'm sure. But it would be a real, that would have severe implications as far as I'm concerned. Hong Kong 50, that hasn't done bad this week. That's a green candle. What's going on over there? Maybe they're still on holiday. Maybe they forgot to switch their computers on and sell it. I don't know, but that's looking pretty positive, and is reversing quite nicely. So there's a bit of flow going into Hong Kong. The Nikkei not so much though, although a few weeks ago, you remember this really had a decent rally. It formed a shooting star, not really a shooting star formation because the following week didn't confirm it. It's a 3 candle formation, didn't happen, but it has been confirmed by this week's price action. So it's maybe we call it a complex evening star formation because there's two candles, a hanging man candle and a shooting star. So that's pretty damning right there. However, this would be the trend line. The reverse trend line comes in around about here. A close below here would be pretty negative, but really still got a little bit of a way to go, maybe about 1,700 points on the downside or 1,500 points on the downside before we start panicking. So that's it. Pretty negative overall from a weekly perspective on the indices. Going through to commodities, gold had a bit of a surprise move yesterday. It took out the resistance around about, well, I think we were talking about 1745 to 1750. Rallied up to 1764 before it consolidated back down, and 1750 looks like the pivot level at the moment now. So I would say, for me, it's slightly positive above there, maybe forming some sort of bullish flag to project higher. Really will be dollar based. Dollar index, let me just quickly look. Yeah, 94.26. It's had a little bit of a reversal here, bearish outside candle. I'll let Joe focus on that a bit more, but that sort of highlights maybe why the gold has moved higher. That sort of dollar weakness is shown up. So yeah, a little bit more positive for the precious metals. Even silver got back above $22, which was the sort of like pivot line we were talking about, maybe selling into $22 with tight stops above, and that is sitting above $22, looking a little bit more positive now, maybe potential for an even sort of like bigger correction to the upside after such a decent sell-off in the precious metals. On the oil side of things, we had some volatility yesterday. We saw prices get smashed down to $73 and then rally all the way up to $76. Didn't really catch what that was in the news, what caused that. Maybe Joe can fill us in, but that was, yeah, pretty volatile for that period. And it's settled down now around about the sort of like the mid 75 area. Well, 74.60 trading exactly. Brent crude had another sort of like attempt to get up to the $80 level stalled in front of it. So we have got a lower high there. Beware of that. And we've had a couple of pretty negative candles and prices now trading just around about the $78. That's $2 away from really testing that. On the crypto side of the game, side of things, I went short of this yesterday in the gun to head and stopped out. And the triangle formation that we had drawn, which I think it was close. It must have been close. 44. I think my stop was at 4400, 44,000. Triangle formation that we picked up on the charts really sort of like was looking to basically sell that there, and it has broken higher and it's retested this downward trending. So this is like almost a downward trending reverse line. What word am I looking for? Not sure, but it's retested that has now become support around about that level. So looks a little bit more positive. And if we, this is one thing I really sort of like picked up on. If I can get my arrows up, can I get my arrows up? Where are them big fat arrows that I need? Yeah. So here and here, basically that was a double bottom. The neckline was at 42,595, and that's sort of like projected quite nicely higher. We can see the it is magnetized this morning. That projects a move up to 44,377, so maybe a little bit more to go. And if we break above there, then we have a double bottom, an even bigger double bottom from these two candles here. We could even call it a treble bottom or a quadruple bottom if we break above here. Well, that's sort of like being a little bit optimistic, but it could happen really. I think there's more positivity to come in Bitcoin today. Again, that's sort of like, I suppose that sort of like dollar weakness helps with that. So yeah, positive on cryptocurrencies. Cardano, I looked at a break. It's got the same similar formation, double bottom, a break of 215. I'd expect a squeeze higher to around about 230, which is the time I go to the dentist, and also the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement. There we go. So that's another one to watch. Break of 215 in Cardano would be positive in my eyes on a technical perspective.
Cool.
That's it, Joe.
Thanks, mate. Okay, let's have a look at the dollar index then. So, Steve, you mentioned a bit of weakness there, and you're right. But I'm not, I'm not overly worried about that really. Obviously, a huge upside move that we saw on the 29th, rallied into this 38.2% fib level at 94.47, posted a bit of a doji. I mean, it's certainly not a reversal candle, I don't think, and nothing to be overly concerned about at the moment. But of course, there could be a bit of a pullback, which I think would just be deemed as being quite healthy, really, within this sort of bullish channel. Easily, it could pull back to this new support line at 93.73, just for a bit of a retest and a confirmation of that level before a continuation higher. So nothing to be overly concerned about with the dollar index at the moment. Looking for a break now of this 94.74 level, which is this previous swing high that we saw back on the 25th of September. 25th of September last year that was. So looking at the weekly, because this is what I touched upon yesterday, we've got a real nice clean break above this resistance level at 93.43. It has hit that 38.2% fib level and stalled a touch, but for me, that's opened up the upside for a continuation higher. So still looking pretty bullish on the dollar index. Not looking so bullish for euro US dollar. That's broken down through some significant support. This is a big impulsive candle that we've seen on the euro dollar chart on the weekly. If we look at it on the daily, I've still been talking about this head and shoulders top, which I'm now happy has broken, and we are going to start heading lower. So like the dollar index yesterday, we saw some small bit of weakness. We actually saw more weakness in euro dollar yesterday, so that didn't do the inverse actually of dollar index and actually made a new low. Mildly higher today, but still looks like lower prices are set to persist on this. The next support down is at the 50% fib, which is at 114.93. Selling rallies on that, I think. Up, the underside of this broken support, which should now be resistance at 116.64, would be my preferred play on that today. Cable, that broke down as we talked about a couple of days ago. Made a small attempt at a rally yesterday, but certainly not enough to stem the flow of sellers. We are back down today by 0.2% and looking likely that we are going to head lower. Next key support for me is down at this 38.2% fib level, which is at 131.65. Euro sterling, that tried to break out from this sort of ending wedge formation, but posted a bit of a doji, then followed by a big reversal yesterday. So back within this this wedge pattern. Trying to have another go today. I mean, now that we've got this high that was posted a couple of days ago, I think that needs to be where we need to break in order for things to kick onto the upside. So now I need to see it above 86.58 before we can start getting excited about that. But potentially quite a large reversal could occur there and a decent corrective move higher following months of declining euro sterling. So that could be one to keep an eye on as well. Looking at the riskier assets, they're getting a bit of a hammering this morning. Aussie dollars down by 0.4%. We saw a bit of strength yesterday, as you can see there, marked by that green candle, and actually some reasonably supportive volume with that as well. But we are off again today, and clearly the trend is lower, so I'm looking for lower prices on that, down towards that key support we've got at 71.05. If we take a look at New Zealand dollar versus US dollar, similar sort of situation. We've seen quite a bit of impulsive selling. A bit of a go yesterday and some decent volume too, but not really managing to overcome or engulf any of the losses that we've seen in the previous session. So for me, it looks like a test of 68.05 is imminent on that. That's it from me on the FX side.
Thanks, mate. I just got a question. Why did Nasdaq 100 just drop? I think we can sort of like
European
really,
Open, I would have thought, wouldn't it?
yeah. 8 o'clock we normally get a little bit of a realignment, and yeah, if we look across all of the indices this hour, the 8 o'clock open normally has that volatility, and obviously it was negative volatility, a little bit of follow through from yesterday, people waking up this morning and saying, oh, indices haven't recovered like they normally do and haven't been saved, and we can see all of the indices in the last couple of hours have had a little bit of a negative push below yesterday's low. That's the reason for the volatility.
Well, there's a bearish
Hope
outside
that helps.
candle that's posted on the hourly.
Yeah,
So
nice.
we're in a downtrend quite clearly on the short-term charts there.
Yeah,
So
so
just a bit of,
technically it's a technical move more than anything, really.
yeah.
I don't know whether there's any news out.
As you say,
News is
this is
irrelevant at the end of the day, isn't it, Joe? Come
this
on, the
is
technicals.
FTSE 100. That seems to be holding a bit decent reversal candle over the last 14 minutes on that. Anyway, my just found a gun to the head trade there. Okay, let's have a look at the gun to the head trades from yesterday. Got a winner on DAX, 1.47R, 153 ticks. That will do. Nice little winning
That'll
streak
do,
there. Look.
donkey.
5 in a row.
Yeah,
Steve,
brilliant.
I had you down half an hour on Bitcoin. I don't know if you're saying you
I
got
don't know.
stopped out on
We
that.
can check it later. I don't know whether it got. I wasn't here, so
Okay.
What I was going to say is DAX. I'm sort of still kicking myself a little bit, not selling that at 15,700. Obviously, that was like the top of the move. Very, very. It would have been a very quick sort of like, well, very tight stop on that, and it didn't even sniff it. It just carried on going down. That was Monday on the open. So yeah, my sort of like I was sort of like I did sort of was short over the weekend, got stopped out.
Oh,
It
look
rallied
at
a
that.
few.
That's
Yeah,
my
that's
guns
it.
to head trade there. It's just basically hit target just
Yeah,
now.
nice. Yeah.
So I'm going to buy it now, flip it around the other way.
Oh, what that's stylish. I love that. Well, it is. I mean, it's had a little bit of reaction at the moment. So although we're saying technically the indices are a bit knackered, they've had a decent sell-off all week. So there's plenty of room for a bounce there.
Yeah, a bit
Why
of a
not?
range there. We've got some highs up here, which have hit a couple of times. Got some support down here, which seems to be doing a job.
Yeah,
Let's
why
go
not?
with it, shall we? That'll be my gun to the head trade for today then. I'm buying the
Go on
DAX
in.
at 15,045. And I'm going to target a move right up there. 15,495, looking for just a 3% move. Stop loss, let's go
Stops
there.
and pluses, mate.
14,950, looking for just under 5R on that today.
5R.
Yeah, aggressive to
Love
start
it.
the new month.
He mad. He mad.
What do you fancy? My biggest win was
I
on the
fancy
DAX, I think, from the gun to the head trade. I think it was a 7R, was it? Once upon a time.
get in there, mate.
Yeah, look,
Why not?
7. Oh no, it's on the FTSE, 7.63R. Long time ago that.
Yeah.
Go on, Steve. What do you fancy?
I'm going to go just a 3-to-1 risk reward in gold. I'm going to buy gold. This to me looks like a bit of a bullish flag. Again, maybe a bit of continued dollar weakness would help here. Indices rallying would help here, just for a short period. Yeah, buying gold around about these levels, 17.55.80. My stop's going to be pretty tight, maybe too tight. Some people might say 17.49.80. So only a 6-tick stop. And looking for an 18-point move, $18 move up to 1773.80, which is the top of the ATR bands. So, yeah, I feel happy with that.
Cool. All right, mate. Good luck. Okay, so data-wise today, we've got Eurozone CPI out at 10 o'clock. Price is expected to rise 0.2% month on month. Then at 3 p.m. today, we have the US ISM manufacturing PMI index to remain at 59.9. That is pretty much it for us to close out the week. And also the start of a new month. So, Steve, let's leave it there. And you will be here on Monday through
Oh,
to
yeah.
Thursday because I'm going to be away.
Okay.
So
don't tell everyone. They won't turn up on Monday now.
You'll be fine.
Yes, we'll. I look forward to that, and good luck with the show next week. I hope it all goes
Cheers.
well.
Yes, let's hope so. And yeah, there'll be a few more earlier sessions from Talking Ball going forward while we're heading back into the big smoke.
Yeah, I mean, I might do it earlier next week. 8 o'clock feels like a good time. Whether I can
around the
get all
open.
the stuff we have to get done by 8 o'clock is another thing, but we'll have a little go at that. I'll try and do it at 8 o'clock next week. Also, it's you do have that little bit of volatility, don't you, at the 8 o'clock open? So maybe
Definitely.
that for me, I think sometimes we sort of like we get to 8:45, 9 o'clock, and we seem to have missed the move a little bit. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
We could argue that we've let things settle down a bit.
Yeah. I could argue with myself all day.
Okay, let's leave it there. Have a great weekend,
Okay, mate.
everyone. We'll be back next week. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.